Hello, sorry. We've been having a little scattered and I couldn't hear the intro on my headphones, but then I could hear it through his phone or something. So it's a little scattered. And I have not yet changed the info for tonight. So if you'll just bear with me for one quick second while I do this. So how is everybody doing tonight? Feel free to hop in chat. John is manning the chat tonight for Quiet Gentlemen. Yep, there he is, his Passionately Podcasts. And let's see here. So let me do this. Talk amongst yourselves. Talk amongst yourselves. Man, I feel like I'm very small. Am I? Since when have I gotten small? There, that's a little better. But let's change this name. Because, as we discussed last week, we are going to start a new it's not so I guess we're not so much starting as well, we are starting a new thing, but this isn't getting rid of the old one. Alone Against the Dark will be back. We just decided to take a break because old Professor Grunwald died quite violently and suddenly in a library last week. So let's see here. Tonight, hey Sean, hey Amanda, good to see you. Tonight we are doing Conspiracy of Mages by you know what? Who is this by? I'm gonna go ahead and list the original German writers. I suppose that will be good enough. Their names were Nikolai Hock, and Alex Spohr. Alright. Sorry that I didn't get that done ahead of time. I was hastily inputting some elements for tonight's stream, and also hastily getting a hopefully clickable version of the adventure because it wasn't clickable when I was looking at it earlier. Hey, Steven, good to see you too. Alright, I need to turn off my sound so you guys don't hear me bing bing binging all evening. Let's see. So, tonight, yes, we're doing Conspiracy of Mages. This is going back to the Dark Eye RPG system. This one here. And John wanted to give me a shot at running one this time instead of him. And no, I'm going to keep it here. That. Guys, our game table is just full of junk right now. We do a lot of shows and use a lot of stuff, and we've also picked up a lot of games here recently. And John did mention in chat, Jess, a friend of the show, a friend of John's from back in his cam days, I believe, recently posted on social media. She's usually in chat. She's been in chat several times the last several weeks, and participated with us. And she has contracted COVID. And not only does she have COVID-19, but she also has pneumonia, and she's been admitted to the hospital. So our thoughts are with them. If you're a praying person, please remember Jess. It's just it's a super bummer. I'm ready for this COVID to be dealt with, and I just don't have a lot of faith in anyone at this point. There's really no nice way to say it. So anyway, tonight, yes, we're going back to the Dark Eye, which is kind of a unique system. It's a German, or it originated in Germany, I believe, and it's been around for what? This is the one that's been around for like 30 years, right? 84. I'm going to go ahead and put John's mic on kind of low so he can at least participate and you guys can hear his input. But 84, so it's as old as I am, so 35, 36 in that area. Oh, and Twan is here. Abandon all hope. Let's. Yeah, that's kind of where I am with the state of things most days. But anyway, The Dark Eye, right now it's by Ulysses Spiel, North America, is who our edition is through. Is that who's always published it? Has it always been a Ulysses property?
Globally, yes. It was briefly published as an OGL product.
Okay.
Under Tops, of all things.
Like baseball cards and stuff.
Yeah.
Sports cards. Tops.
Yeah.
They've done a lot of stuff. They have an imprint called FanPro, which we've talked about several times
Hmm.
on Tome Travelers, which is our podcast that is currently on hiatus. May become a stream soon. If you're interested in being on part of that, just give us a little hit us up. You know, we like to tell people all things about and include all people and whatever we want to do. But so yeah, I've never played this. I tried to create a character in it some time ago. I mean, we're talking like 3 years ago now. Um, and my experience with it was very limited because I was stupid and I didn't want to just create a typical character. I wanted to create something that they didn't have something to create, and then it became this huge point buy system. And honestly, character creation kind of borked my brain. So I never got too far with it. I was a member of the chat when John did the last one, which was the Vampire of Havana. Um, this one, specifically Conspiracy of Mages, lists that it is for unskilled to intermediate players, or yeah, I believe is how it's worded. So it's made for people like me that don't have a grand familiarity with the system. Real quick, again, when John played it, it used 3d20 that you would roll, so it would have a combination of, I believe these are called attributes.
Hmm.
So, you know, your courage or your intelligence or your sagacity or your charisma, stuff like that. It would give you a check that combined three, and you would have to pass on all three. The little I've seen of this adventure, which hasn't been much because I'm not supposed to read ahead, but in the directions, oh, I just saw a picture and there's something naughty happening. But um, it only says I need one die. So I know that the colored die is an optional rule for the dark eye. We are going to go ahead and use the colored die. I even drew my own Paramanthus dice wheel, so I know what all the dice colors mean, and you know I was just being interesting, I guess, to myself. I was having fun with markers and colors while I'm in quarantine. I have to be a little creative. So we're going to go ahead and do that. One thing I did want to point out about this adventure that I think is super cool, and if you've never played this game or you've never played tabletop RPGs at all, this adventure is really cool, and this is how you also can tell that it's for beginners or unskilled players. This adventure specifically says, and I'm going to just read this to you. To play this solo adventure, you need several items along with a common 6-sided die, or D6 for short, and a 20-sided die, D20. Both are available at finer hobby stores everywhere. But do not despair if you cannot find dice, as this book provides an easy-to-use die roll generator. Whenever an entry instructs you to roll a die, simply flip through the book and stop at a random page. The bottom corner of each right-hand page shows images of 2 die results, one for a D6 and one for a D20. Simple. That is ingenious, in my opinion. I wish some of these other systems would kind of do that. Even you could do that with a Call of Cthulhu solo adventure. I don't know if this is like a technique or something that they've patented. I don't believe the Vampire of yeah, I noted that too, Sean. I don't know if Vampire of Havana had the same utility in it, but yeah, you can just flip through, and I don't have it printed to show you, and my iPad does not show it very well on camera, but I can tweet out a picture of this later. But yeah, on every odd number page, so every right-hand facing page is what it would be. So like page 5 here I'm looking at has a D20 that's rolled a 3 and a D6 that's rolled a 4. And so you don't even need dice. I could, you know, it's a little harder as a PDF. I'd have to just sit and you know, maybe scroll through my PDF and land on something. I'm going to use real dice, but that's really cool. That is making this adventure accessible to anyone. And I'm not sure how much this one would cost, but if you've got a friend that wants to get into kind of crunchy RPGs, but they've never played an RPG before, or at least they've never played this system, John even said that it looked like the character sheet was more simplified in this. It's still 6 pages of character sheet, which I think is absolutely
Oh,
huge.
yeah, that's such a 80s 90s
Well,
thing.
that's fine. I mean,
You,
D&D still does that.
it does, but I
Not
feel
not
like
as much.
it was one of those things where the more pages you have in your character sheet, the better a game it was. It's kind of like how it
I
felt
mean,
in the 80s.
it is super useful. I mean, I'll be honest. When I first started playing RPGs and I was playing Pathfinder, one of the first things I wanted to get. Oh, I actually think John got it for me. Was a character folio for my first character that I ever played in an RPG, which was short-sighted on our part because that game never went anywhere. but but I had that really cool character folio, which ultimately was a decent design, but also not because I mean, some of the character sheet is on the laminated cover, inside cover of the book, and there's like a little folder, which was cool. But I tore that thing up so fast trying to like use dry erase on it. It just it's not made for that. I am gonna pull up my character sheet now that we're talking about it. I forgot I was gonna run it on the screen next to me because we did not get a chance to print anything out. And I am on. I'm quarantining myself because COVID is huge here again. So I think we've mentioned that in several streams. So I'm not going to bore you with it. But yeah, as Twan says, I have a character folio for D&D, and yet I'm never a player. The GM's quandary. You're never a player in D&D. You play over here though. Play other games. Let's see. Where is my character sheet? Uh-oh. Did I forget to upload it? Did I? Am I a dummy? I think I did. Well, I mean, let's see. And what Sean had mentioned earlier, if you hadn't seen in chat, dice are also available at less reputable game stores. Often. But we only talk about the finer ones, like Space Cadets Gaming in Oak Ridge North, Texas. Give us a call. Go to our website, spacecadetsgaming.com. I believe is our website. I'm technically the manager, and I'm questioning right now whether or not I know the address, the website. Amanda says she can buy gas at she can buy gas at a dice station. She can buy dice at a gas station. John, will you do me a favor and run out there to my other computer
Yep.
and get the character sheet? I believe it's just in the Tomes of Ice. It's on.
What do you need me to do with it?
Oh wait, no,
specifically?
I have it.
I was about to say.
I just needed it uploaded. I thought.
Ah, okay.
But I managed to do that, ladies and gentlemen. I managed to do a thing. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to pull up the character sheet and have it off to the side so that I can do these. I'm going to do that. All right. And you get out of here, sidebar. I don't need you. So, be thinking about character names as it is. Let's go ahead and play a character that identifies as female. I'm open on names though. I don't think names should be gendered, just like activities. But yeah, we'll use she her pronouns tonight. Let's see. So, Conspiracy of Mages. Tonight, I'm going to, just to give you a little preface, I'm going to read what they have in here, just to kind of give you an idea of the idea behind this. Wanda, oh, he's thinking of names. I was like, what are we talking about? That's how fast I forget. A fish? A fish called Wanda? All right, spellcasters are popular Dark Eye character choices, but only 2 of the many solo adventures published over the past 30 years focus specifically on mages. Previously, player character mages could only walk on the Merciless Path or wield a staff made of elm, and they also have the German titles for those. I'm not great with German anything. I mean, I can kind of do it, but I can't. We discussed that when I was playing as Professor Grunwald. These beloved adventures are long out of print, so we felt mages deserved another day in the sun. Enjoy. Conspiracy of Mages is set at a famous school of grey magic called the Lohengrin Academy of Transformation. The adventure takes place during final exams, a stressful time at the school. Fame and respect await all graduates, but a shocking crime threatens to end your character's career as a mage before it even starts. Your choices help decide your character's future. Can you unravel this fiendish mystery and still manage to graduate? While enjoyable by experienced players, this adventure is well suited for novice players with little knowledge of the Dark Eye. Sidebars explain how to play this solo adventure, including the basic rules of the Dark Eye RPG, as needed. The only exception is the procedure for combat, which appears in the appendix instead. me finish my sentences. This book includes a pre-generated character and a handy overview of your character's spells so you can start playing immediately. Adventure awaits. So, there you have it. That's what we're going to be doing. Good evening, David. Good to see you. Stratus. What a name. Let's see here. So, this one is another adventure. John did not realize this, and I was definitely
Not thrilled.
not thrilled to learn that this one also has a time tracker. Not nearly as extensive. It's like 20 dots, 20 circles on a page that I'm supposed to scratch out. And I meant to grab a like a post-it note or something, or I used to have index cards out here, but they are long gone.
Trying to
But
find some paper.
yeah, paper would be wait. Y'all, I play games in this very chair very often.
The Lady of the Notebook.
I am the lady of the notebook. I have the lady of many notebooks. I wonder where my index cards went. I love index cards, y'all. But I do have some handy dandy graph paper right here with reinforced holes. All right. I'm waving around this pencil as though I'm actually going to use it. I'm not. I also want it said for the record that I cannot hear that. If you watch our show at all regularly, and there are people in the chat who are members, or cast members of other shows, guess what I don't hear in my ears right now? Any rumbling whatsoever. So it's obviously a Zoom thing. And I could hear it all through the show on Thursday night. I'm really hoping that I can't hear it in the recording, but gosh, it was irritating. So Stratus, I have Stratus and Wanda are the two names that I've been suggested for. I'm fine with Stratus, but somebody's a wrestling fan, it sounds like. Who's a Trish Stratus fan? Is that you, Steven? You don't do wrestling, do you? You just hang with people who do wrestling, right? Did it get way better last week? Even the rumbling, because I could hear it all show and it drove me nuts. Let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and read the opening paragraph, and then I also want to point out that my fan is on and it's not making that noise, so it wasn't me, even though everybody said it was me. As it is. Let's see. So we're gonna start with the just a quick little introduction to Aventuria in case it comes up. Lohengrin uses Midden Realmish currency, namely iron kreuzers, bronze halers, eponymous silver thalers, and gold ducats. And 1 ducat equals 10 silver thalers, which equals 100 halers and 1,000 kreuzers. You're never going to remember that, but I just wanted to put that out there, because maybe if I say it, I'll remember it. It's a female wrestler's named Trish Stratus, I think. Am I wrong?
That is correct.
I haven't watched wrestling in many years, but so many people around me like to inundate me with the knowledge of current times.
And I think she retired for a torn ACL, like so many others.
Ouch. Don't tear your ACLs, y'all. 1 Aventurian yard of distance equals 30. None of that matters. Okay. But for this, it does have for titles, which I assume are going to come up in this adventure, an Elev is a student years 1 through 3, a novice is a student years 4 through 6, and a studiosus or a studiosa is it's studiosus, not studiosa, which is a student year 7 and onward. So from this point on, there are, I assume, masculine and feminine. Femulin, that's what girl Romulans are called. But that's there are both titles. So Candidatus and Candidata, Scalaria, Adeptus, Adepta Minor, Adeptus, Adepta Major, and Mage or Magus or Mega. I'm not going to say MAGA. But so I'm trying to be an Adeptus. Scalarius or Scalaria are technically all students of magic, but especially teachers. So right now, I am a Candidatus. Candidata? I I'm bad at these extra consonants. Students preparing for the final exam, also used of students who must repeat an upper year. So that's what I am, because I'm trying to pass my final exams in order to become an adeptus, or probably an adepta minor. A student who passes the final exam, thus earning a guild seal. Anything above that is for special people. Marina. Marina. Oh no, I was listening to a podcast and the name was Karina, which was a German character on the podcast. It was really good, and it made me decide that I really like the name Irina, not with the K at the beginning, but Irina. Maybe someday. All right, so we're going to start this adventure, and it is exam day. We'll select a name before, well, when we need to. Oh, I thought it was a storm. But, so exam day. Are you frightened of the empty room or the prospect of what lies ahead? Either way, your churning stomach doesn't seem to care. The small bowl of millet gruel you ate for breakfast is not sitting well, and you feel nauseated. Well, there are other reasons why millet gruel might not be sitting well. Magistra Moonhair's cooking might be to blame, but what if this is no accident? After all, she delivered your breakfast and she never did that before. Did she poison it? And make sure you ate it? Does she hate you that much? Has Cindy's wisdom be with you? A man says softly. Do you detect a hint of concern in his voice, or are you imagining things? Man, this person is as paranoid, or more, than I am. You turn in your chair and stare up at the beaming face of Archmage Elkarna Aurelian of Highstone, venerable dean of the Lohengrin Academy of Transformation. You greet him in the traditional manner, though perhaps a bit too slowly, and the old man's smile changes to a worried frown. Today is a big day, but you look like a mouse transfixed by a serpent. Fate sometimes takes unexpected turns, but it does not do any good to succumb to doubt, like a young Elev who has just failed to cast his first spell. A mage must trust in his skills. He stays aware of his situation, looks into his future with confidence, and acts as it is in his power. The old archmage leans in close to you, and several locks of his long white hair slip from under his hat. A curled strand tickles your nose, and you suppress a sneeze. Do not ever forget this! Act! He says. I like how he got really close to you just to yell in your face. Then he straightens up, gives you an encouraging pat on the shoulder, and exits the room, leaving you alone with your thoughts. Now there's a really cute picture, I believe, of Archmage Elkarna Aurelian of Highstone, our venerable dean. And it's this old man with a ton of cats. Like a cat is chewing on like his amulet, and there's just all these little white kitties all over him, and it's super cute. Like one of them is sitting on his head and like batting at his nose. It's really cute. No, David, come back. All right, so we're going to go to section 65. 65. Okay. You drop onto your bed, gazing up at the small chandelier you set swinging via the same cantrip you used to close your dorm room door earlier. The chandelier chain creaks slightly. A mage trusts his skills, the dean said. You focus on your breathing. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. A mage? Well, that's the problem. You are not yet a mage. Almost, but not quite. A mage trusts his skills. Inhale, exhale. I trust my skills, you whisper to yourself. You pause to gather the facts as if describing a new plant in alchemy class. You attend the Lohengrin Academy of Transformation, where you are a studiosus, an 8th-year student. Well, to be precise, you are a candidatus, someone about to take the final exam. When you pass, you will be an adeptus, a full-fledged mage. You focused on your education and showed more ambition than any other student in your class. While others spent their rare free time socializing in town, you took advantage of the peace and quiet in the reading room. While others put forth the minimum effort necessary, you worked harder, studied more diligently, and conducted elective research whenever you had the chance. You felt the sting of your classmates' envy, scorn, and insults. Bookworm and Morphu Slimeball being the least offensive examples. But your patience paid off. You will graduate with more points than the school's previous record holder, Magistra Mela Moonhair. She was the most proficient student in the school's history until you came along. Just one more day until graduation, you remind yourself. You have nothing to worry about. Your heartbeat slows as you regulate your breathing. I stay aware of my situation, you say to the empty room, ordering your thoughts the way you were taught. You always pass tests with honors, and you always feel nervous beforehand, but today is different. You feel nauseated, of course, but this time you can't blame your excitement. This time, the fault belongs to Magistra Moonhair. Your trouble started the first time you attempted the final exam, 2 weeks ago. The final is a practical demonstration of spellcasting, performed for a panel of 3 professors. Students cast several spells of the panel's choosing in rapid succession. That day you felt a rare surge of optimism because you were well prepared and well rested. Then Magistra Moonhair served you a bowl of porridge that made you ill and caused you to miss the exam. At the time you thought it mere coincidence. Magistra Moonhair looked upon you with suspicion from the day you enrolled at Lohengrin. She always demanded more from you, treated you curtly, and never failed to embarrass you in front of the other students. She is a former star pupil of the school. After graduating, she applied for a permanent position at the school. Her her outstanding academic performance secured her the title of Deputy Dean. To put her in her place, you strove to be more talented and more dedicated than she. Your achievement soon challenged her reputation, but you never imagined she would poison your food. Thankfully, Archmage Aurelian gave you permission to retake the exam. Now here you are, lying in bed on the last day of the school year with one last chance to graduate. Almost everyone else is in town enjoying a well-earned break. Your exam begins at the 10th hour. I will look into my future with confidence, you say quietly, watching the chandelier swing gently back and forth. You decide to take a few moments before breakfast to prepare and maybe cast a practice spell or two before reporting to Magister Aurelian to take the exam. Today, you graduate and earn the title of Adeptus. I act as it is in my power, you say in a determined voice as you climb out of bed. If you start with physical exercise, go to section 139. And if you start by testing your mental focus, go to section 181. Okay, so we've gotten some background. This Magistra Moonhair is obviously a hag. Super smart. She, Snape, sure, but sounds more like somebody with Snape's attitude and McGonagall's talent. My opinion. But, yeah, so we're doing mental focus? Is that what we want to do? Excuse me. Mental focus. Yeah, I probably wouldn't do a physical exercise were it me. If this is my butt here, if I'm naked when I get out of bed, there is a nice cuppable butt on this character right here. I don't think it's for what I'm currently doing. So this is one of those areas where this adventure again is for unskilled role players, where it says sections with choices. Some sections in the solo adventure let you choose how to proceed. So it's going to have little sidebars throughout that. Again, I feel like this is actually a pretty solid beginner adventure for new players, especially if they have interest in kind of high fantasy and maybe a system that is going to be crunchy, because some people really like crunching numbers and math and stuff. So we're going to go to Mental Focus, section 181. Yay, clicks work. No, they don't. Or my chubby finger just didn't get the right one. Is it 181? I believe I said 181, didn't I? Gosh, I'm terrible at this. I should write this stuff down. Now I'm second guessing. Do. I'm going to start writing it down over here. 65 was where I started. Yeah. If you want to start by testing your mental focus, we go to 181. 181. Okay, there we go. You are one of the school's top students. If Magistra Olia's words, "a healthy mind lives in a healthy body," are true, then your body seems healthy enough. You were skinny growing up, and if you believe your fellow students' teasing, you are still rather thin. This is surprising given your upbringing. If you believe your classmates' taunts, you are as thin as a beanpole, and it is a miracle that a runt like you survived to adulthood. Now, this may be true, as Lohengrin sits in a rough corner of Aventuria, and orcs live right outside the city gates. They rule an entire region and ignore Lohengrin only because its human and elf residents pay the orcs a substantial tribute. A girl named Brynja once tried to boost your self-respect by saying that you were born slender because orcs do not look for foes behind saplings. Though you appreciated the sentiment, you never found the explanation particularly flattering. Something catches your eye through your little dorm window overlooking the street outside the school, and you pause to examine it closer. Glints of sunlight reflect from rain puddles in the road, reminding you of candles and happy memories from long before you enrolled at the school. You clear your mind and try to focus on the day ahead. There are more sidebars on this, but I'm sure we'll get to that as time goes on. As you turn away from the window, you spy your own reflection in the thick pane of glass. You hold up one arm and make a muscle, half jokingly posing like an athlete. With a sigh, you admit you are not a perfect physical specimen. Brynja was right when she said you could hide behind a sapling. Yeah, not I, said the role player. Instead of feeling sorry for yourself, though, you brim with confidence. You will pass today's exam with honors, and you will prove that you deserve a prestigious research and teaching position at the school. For now, you need serenity. You sit cross-legged on your bed, close your eyes, and try to empty your thoughts. Make an intuition check. If you succeed, go to section 92. So, intuition, let's go ahead and pull up the dice is here. And we are going to do this. Alright. And let's see. So, intuition, according to the dice wheel, is green. So I'm going to roll this lovely green die. Oh, I guess I need to look at my sheet here, too. I think we're going to go with, Marina or Alyssa. I think we'll go ahead and go with Stratus because it sounds... It just sounds what?
Mage-like.
Mage-like. Maybe I'm Stratia. Wait, just Stratia. Stratia something. Stratia Stratus of the Stratostars. Let's see here. So, intuition. My intuition figure is a 14. I'm trying to get above that, correct? Is this like D20?
No,
This is under?
This is under.
Okay. You,
Okay, so I'll walk you through this. So is this a skill check?
this is... It doesn't say. It just says roll an intuition check.
Okay, so that is a stat check.
Okay.
So all you're going to roll is against the number for that stat.
So, and I'm going under it.
Yes.
Okay. I rolled a 3. My number for intuition is intuition is 14. So I did it. Woo.
There you go.
If I succeed, go to section 92. Your groceries got delivered, so did ours. Before the stream, Amanda. That's fine. You inhale deeply and exhale slowly, letting stress to flow from your body. Yes, I want to give all my stress to anyone around me. Let's see. So, you fill your mind with calming images as you focus on your task. You open your eyes. You feel serene, but you can do better. Make another intuition check, this time with a -2 penalty. If you succeed, go on. So, I assume a -2 penalty is a -2 to my target number.
Correct.
So I need to roll a 12 or below. I believe that is a 7. That is a 7. So, I did it. I'm so much better than that. Go to section 218. Peace and quiet. You relax, focusing on the task before you. Whatever may come, you are strong, you are smart, and you can handle any challenge. You look around your room. Are you focused sufficiently? You do not know, but to be honest, tests always make you nervous, and you never had trouble with them before. This test is no different. You feel confident, which is all that matters. Go to section 76. The final exam covers practical magic. The movie? You take a few deep breaths and prepare to cast your spell by placing one hand on the wall and forming an image of an exclamation mark in your hand. So I'm placing one hand on the wall and forming the image... Oh, in my mind. That's a big difference. I was really confused how it's like, where's this third hand coming from that I can draw in? So when you lift your hand from the wall, you see a black exclamation mark emblazoned I don't know how to say this word. I'm gonna be 100% honest. Someone can give me a pointer if they wish. I don't know if it's emblazoned, which is what I would think it is because of the E at the end and makes the vowel the long sound, but I have no idea. So we're going to say an exclamation mark emblazoned on the whitewashed surface. This is satisfactory. The mark appears permanent, as if it is painted on the wall, though you know from experience that someone could easily wipe it away. Go to section 222. Emblazoned. Is that what it is?
That's what I
Emblazoned?
thought.
I'll take it. Emblazoned. That sounds more badass. That is a word that I have always struggled with. I have always seen it in print, and I don't know if I've ever really noticed someone saying it out loud. So it breaks that rule that I always keep, which is if there's an E at the end, that the preceding vowel is a long sound. Interesting. Emblazoned. Anyway, 222. Making an exclamation mark appear on the wall is a first-year student's magic trick, a simple form of magic called a cantrip. Today's exam will test your spellcasting ability. You focus your thoughts and cast Penetrazel, which, as it happens, is the first spell you learned. Adepts must master 7 spells to graduate and earn the title of Adeptus. And the first spell students learn at this school is special not because it lets the caster look through the walls, but because it is the only one that does not directly affect someone's mind or body. Failing to cast Penetrazel correctly simply means you failed to see through a wall, casting a transformation spell incorrectly. You failed to see through a wall. Casting a transformation spell incorrectly, however, can lead to terrible consequences. You know that every student's connection with Penetrazel goes beyond looking through walls. It opened your eyes to a new world. When you learned this spell, you felt arcane energy flow through your body for the first time in your life. It was not spontaneous and uncontrolled like when you were a child, and neither was it an emotional burst of magic unleashed by rage or anger. Penetrazel showed you could master magic. You felt in control of your life for the first time. You have no skill in hunting, flirting, or making things. Your talent lies in magic, and you are confident about today's exam. You face the outer wall once again, close your eyes, and speak the incantation. Penetrazel, Penetrazel, Penetrazel. So to cast Penetrazel, okay, I was wrong, ladies and gentlemen. To cast Penetrazel, I need to roll for courage, sagacity, and intelligence. So let's grab our courage die, which is the red one. Sagacity is purple, and intuition, I believe, it's intuition, not intelligence. Intuition is green.
All right. So, at the same time, this is calling for a check of a skill, correct?
Correct.
And what skill is that?
Well, I'm rolling to cast a spell,
All right.
so it's not necessarily a skill check as it is.
Well, usually you should have a skill in it or a point value for that spell you're casting or something along those lines.
It just says roll to cast Penetrazel.
It would be on your character sheet.
Okay, give me 1 second. I want to do this better. Alright, so Penetrazel. The effect is the spellcaster sees through a wall as if it is not there. The check is courage, sagacity, and intuition. My arcane energy cost of a successful spell gives that, and then it gives me a reference for the rules.
Oh. If you want to double check the rules, I can understand that.
Oh, wait. Penetrazel. So what is SR? Is that spell rating?
Spell rating.
Is a 7.
All right, so you have 7 points to adjust those 3 rolls.
How often does those 7 points refresh?
Every time you make a skill roll, but not on the same skill roll.
Okay, so I can't...
So let's start off with the first one. What is the first stat
Oh,
you're
I
gonna
see
roll?
what you're saying, I think.
Yeah.
So the first one is courage, and courage is the red die.
All right, so roll your courage.
I got it. It's a 9, which is under my 13.
All right, so you did not have to spend any points. You still have 7 points left that you could use. So
Okay,
roll
I see
again.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. And so sagacity then is purple. I rolled an 8. That is my best skill, which is 15.
Nice.
So that succeeded. And then intuition is green. My intuition figure again is 14, and I rolled another 7.
And there you go.
Guys,
so
I rolled 987. I
Th-
like it when my numbers are successive.
You also like games where you roll under.
I do, because okay. We introduced my dad to Weave from Monocle Society, and it's a different style game. Uses some cards. You scan it into an app. It's a really cool game. It's an alternate. No, not alternate. It's an augmented reality style game, or it's prepping to be even more so. But anyway, he kept rolling and he kept not making successes, and he was like, "I'm really bad at this." And I say that too. I say that I suck at rolling, but we all know it's all chance. We just have the statistical improbability nailed down. I can roll low almost 100% of the time. Until I need to. But I need to right now and I'm doing good. So if the check succeeds, go to 169. So we're going to go to 169. Thank you for joining the chat. All the viewers that are here, we really appreciate your support. Please, like I said, chime in. We'd love to see. Well, that could be, unless these dice are trying to kill you, then that's never good. But yeah, we'd love to see you participate in chat. Let us know where you're from, and if you have any comments. This is a solo adventure, and I enjoy the interaction from the chat. So you chant the magical words over and over, pushing your mind forward like a nail driven by a hammer until you can see beyond the wall. You look out upon the city. Light from Prios's disk pierces the lifting fog, and clouds of chimney smoke curl above the rooftops. The half-timber houses across the road crowd each other as if seeking support after a night of revelry. Servants crowd the streets, conducting their shopping. A woman goads an ox that refuses to pull her overloaded cart. Several children try to catch an escaped piglet. 2 old men share the day's gossip. A battle-scarred woman checks her sword's edge while a sharpener waits nervously for his payment. And a well-dressed city council member steps into an alley to avoid a mud puddle, unaware of the woman above him, preparing to empty her chamber pot. This look at the honest hustle and bustle of life outside the school refreshes your spirit, but you feel the spell draining your strength. Wistfully, you gaze quickly around once more, then you withdraw your awareness, forcing it through the wall and back to your body. You open your eyes and lean against the wall while you recover. Subtract 6 arcane energy from your total and go to section 4. Okay, so my arcane energy, what did I say I had? Yeah. So, yeah, so it cost me 6. We knew that because of the successful spell. My arcane energy, where are you, is 38. So I'm going to just jot that down here. Arcane energy, 38 minus 6. So I'm sitting pretty at a 32 right now. Okay, go to section 4. So far, so good. This is moving on. Oh, we found the page with the naughty imagery. Is this an adventure for adults? Let's see. So, this says, now this is where it gets a little interesting. Let me see if I can find more information about this icon. So remember I said this is a time tracker, or this requires something about, I have to cross off circles and stuff. So, let me look at this icon. Hello, next. So 1 or more circles appear next to some section numbers. Each time you visit one of these sections, cross off 1 circle. If you visit that same section again, run out of circles to cross off. Okay, so you had to do this.
Yeah,
you could only go to sections so many times.
Yep.
But this one, while I'm explaining this, some of these entries have a little hourglass with a +1 beside it. And so I'm going to look and see if I can't figure out where it tells me what that means. Because that, so far, has not been explained in my introduction portion. So let's see. And if anybody is familiar with this particular adventure, please by all means mention it in the chat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my time tracker, as according to the book, is a 4x5 set of circles that indicate how many times I can, how many things I guess I can do in a day. Let me see if it explains this. So I'm on entry 4. I'm going to click something and see if it tells me anything. It did not. So let's check the back of my book here. Doesn't say there. So let's try one other place. Not there. Not there. Sorry, y'all. Give me one moment while I figure this out. So, time tracker. Oh, how lovely. It has a little clear button. If all circles are crossed off and you need to cross off another circle, instantly go to this. But it doesn't say... It doesn't say anything else about it. I don't know what that symbol means. It does have the little hourglass on it. Sorry, y'all. Trying to figure out what this means. Okay, stop it. Cancel. Go there, go there, go there. It's got some links in here to explain things in it. Circles to cross off. Let's do 40, 44, 45, and 49. So maybe one of those will explain. One or more circles will appear next to something. Okay. That's not here. One or more, so is it just going to tell me the same thing over and over and over again? So yeah, some of these entries do have circles actually written next to them. But nothing so far is telling me what the +1 means. Are you familiar? Did you read anything about that?
And +1 as far as...
So it's got a little hourglass symbol, which is also associated with the time tracker.
Okay.
And then it has a +1.
I would think that
So does that mean I'm spending a time?
Probably.
Okay.
This is the first game we've had where it does a time tracker like this. So.
I feel like it mentioned it somewhere, but I don't see it anywhere. Sorry. I know this is really boring programming. It doesn't thrill me either. Protection rating. How strange. Protection rating, spell checks, circles to cross off. But what about the time tracker? Let me do one last check here. Time tracker. Aha! To measure your progress, this adventure requires you to track the passage of time. Familiarize yourself with the time tracker at the back of this book. Make sure all 20 circles are empty when you start this adventure. Anytime you encounter a section that is marked with a hourglass plus, cross off the indicated number of circles from the time tracker. Since you reach section 4, and the header is also marked with the... Okay, so it was just on the page before the one I was on. Okay. Is also marked with the blank +1. You need to cross off one circle from the time tracker now. Done. Each circle on the time tracker represents the passage of roughly 20 to 30 minutes while your character performs a chosen action. This is a rough approximation of the time and should not be seen as an exact measurement. It reflects the kinds of lucky breaks or unexpected delays that affect your character's general progress. Always cross off time circles before you read the associated section. If you run out of circles to cross off, meaning you fill in all 20 circles on the time tracker, stop reading that section and go to section 111. Alright, so... it's exactly what we thought it was. I feel better having read the sidebar about it. So I crossed off my circle. You flinch as the courtyard bell rings, striking the hour. Where did the time go? Your exam starts soon. No time to waste. You put on your robe, grab your pointy hat and plain staff, and hurry out of your room. You arrive at Archmage Aurelian's study, wheezing and exhausted, with no time to spare. You straighten your robe, take a moment to catch your breath, and knock at the door. No response. You do not hear "come in, just a moment," or any of the other replies you expect. You knock again, more forcefully this time. Again, you hear nothing. If you continue waiting, so here's my options. I can continue waiting. If I suspect this is part of the test and enter without explicit permission, I can also do that. Of course, I could try to peer through the wall by casting Penetrazel, and students are not permitted to gaze through walls within the school, but this might be an emergency. If you want to try this, I can do that. On the other hand, a spell would use up more of your arcane energy. Failing the exam because you were tired would be unbearably humiliating, so maybe you would simply peek inside the room through one of the windows. So what should we do? Should we continue waiting? Do I think this is part of the test and go on in without explicit permission? Do I use Penetrazel? I am not up for using that spell. I will say that I am not inclined to do that. If chat wishes me to make that decision, we can discuss, though, and I am open to negotiation. Or I could just peer through a window. I'll be honest, I'm leaning towards peering through a window. If there are one, why not use it? Window, window. Let's see. I'm gonna take a drink while I wait for feedback. I got 3 votes for window. Oh, hey Jess, how are you feeling? We just sent good vibes and thoughts to you earlier. Let's see. I see a couple new names in chat tonight. Thank you for coming again. We appreciate you. Weak. Sorry. Hope you guys are feeling a little better soon. Let's see. So I've got, I believe, 3 votes for peering through the window, 4 votes for peering through the window. So I'm down with that. I'm going to cast the not needed tiebreaker and say we're going to peer through the window, and we're going to section 52. Finding the windows to Magister Aurelian's room is not difficult. You follow the narrow corridor, open one of the building's colorful stained glass windows, and look around outside. The ledge is at least 30... Oh my gosh, we're going outside. For some reason, I thought... Maybe I'm dumb. I thought there might be like windows on the wall or something like that. I didn't think we were going to climb outside, but here we are. So I open one of the building's colorful stained glass windows and look around outside. The ledge is at least 30 feet above street level. Climbing along the ledge looks risky. You will surely die if you lose your footing unless you are lucky enough to land in the straw-filled cart parked below the Archmage's window. If you want to risk climbing on the ledge, I can do that. Or if I prefer to continue waiting outside the door, I can go back. Or if I wish to try opening Magister Aurelian's door, or gazing in with Penetrazel. So do we want to continue this now that we know that it's literally scaling the outside of the building? You know, I brought in all these map photos. This I actually have I have maps for the Lowengen Academy of Transformation. I'm probably never going to need them, but I went ahead and pulled the maps in. So if anybody at any point would like to see some of the, some of the maps for this room, I can probably, go ahead and do that. Down for a B&E, going in. So that's okay. I got 3 votes for just go in. Okay, I'm good with that. Again, we've already established that I am not athletic. I could hide behind a sapling. So, I assume that means I probably don't... I mean, I'm light, but I have a feeling I really don't have the hand strength to, like, grip onto the side of a building and fall to my death. So, let's go... We're just going to go try to open the door. 101. Heart pounding, you turn the doorknob, but the door remains closed. If it has a mechanical lock, twisting the knob would prove fruitless, but you doubt Archmage Aurelian would rely on a mundane lock. After all, this is not a school of the White Guild, where teachers view magic with such awe that they focus on theory and ignore application. The thought makes you shudder. You wonder if this puzzle would arise at the Black Guild schools, where demon summoners and other crazy people are commonplace. They probably feel no need to lock their doors, as intruders get decapitated and flayed by summoned monstrosities. You set these absurd thoughts aside and return to the matter at hand, namely finding Archmage Aurelian. If you can, so again, do I wait outside? Do I gaze through the wall? Or do I go back outside? Apparently we haven't found the way in yet. We haven't felt what they wanted us to do. I kind of wish it wasn't so railroady on this, but it's a little hand-holdy, a little railroady, but that's fine. It happens. So gazing would take me back outside. Oh, you mean with Penetrazel? I could do Penetrazel. I mean, I have 32 arcane energy points left. I'm going to do something a little meta. Okay. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 spells in my handbag. Some of them cost a ton of arcane energy. Can I get arcane energy back?
I don't think so, not immediately.
Familiarize yourself with these spells before you play. Also keep a running total of your... I mean, some of these spells... Like, two of my spells cost 16, or can. No, 3. And one of them cost 12. So... Risk climbing outside? If becoming a mage isn't worth risking your life, then you never really wanted it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Pappin. What are my numbers here I'm looking at? So my agility is a 10, and my strength is a 10. Sorry. Okay. I wonder if it would let me die. I wonder if it would let me die. Am I being silly? Can I not actually die? So, let's go outside. And let's do it. So, if you want to risk climbing on the ledge, go to section 114. This is a long read. You push open the window and face a cold breeze. As you climb onto the ledge, you are suddenly reminded of an old assignment concerning the die anthology, or the die analogy. One day during class, Magistra Moonhair waxed philosophical about an icosahedron that is a 20-sided die. Each side is basically identical except for the numbers, she said, and each roll of the die usually produces different results. You learned that rolling a die 20 times does not guarantee that all 20 numbers will appear. During your experiment, the number 14 turned up 3 times. Your lab partner obtained 5 results of 7. You never obtained those results, even though you conducted the experiment 2 additional times. The teacher assigned an essay linking the die with fate, magical talent, and the circumstances surrounding people's births. You defended the hypothesis that the gods allow fate, essentially the roll of a die, to determine the course of everyone's lives, starting from birth. Statistically, every human has a chance of exhibiting magical talent, but few possess the gift. Fate favors some people and ignores others, and nobody has yet discovered a way to look inside a person and know which it will be. You argued in your essay that even a goblin with no magical talent still develops other abilities such as swimming or climbing. You wrote that trained mages are sometimes less skilled than goblins in many ways, though you pointed out that this matters little because mages saw problems with magic and what use is something like a climbing skill compared to that. The Moonhair Witch may have given you a passing grade for her class, but she did not award you the honors you expected. Crouched here outside the window, you realize why your final exam might lead to your doom, as you have no spells that grant the ability to climb, fly, or teleport. Your grandfather was right. The most valuable skill in the world is the one that helps you live to see another day. Perhaps he should have also mentioned that mages are ill-suited for climbing because their robes get in the way. You take a deep breath of cool air to calm your nerves, and then look for the Archmage's window. It is to your left, about 6 feet away, along a ledge 1 hand span wide. Use the spell. So, I'm already here. So, I have to climb. So I need to make a courage, agility, and a strength test with a -2 penalty. So, for 2 of these, I'm going to have to roll an 8. Alright. So this one doesn't have things that I can move it with, right? Nope, because it's a physical check. Alright, so we're going to do courage first.
Well, unless you have a climb skill, but I don't think you do.
I don't.
Athletics.
I think it specifically said that I don't have anything like that.
Yeah.
Let me look. Physical skills. Climbing. 0.
And no athletics either.
Athletics is not on my list at all. So I don't think that is a skill. Boop, 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 boop. Yep. Nope. Okay. So. Courage. Trying to get an 11 or below. I did not. So that means that the whole thing is failed. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I got a 10. I thought it said an 18. I got a 10. If anybody wants to verify that, that is a 10.
Yep.
Um, not sagacity and not intuition. I am looking for agility, which is blue. This is the one of the ones I need an 8 on, an 8 or below. Did not get it. That is a 10. So I can't move it.
Not if you don't have those skills necessary. No.
So is it even worth rolling the other one? Is there a degree of failure?
Yeah, there is. When you fail one, you fail them all.
That's dumb.
That's what several people have said.
I'm going to roll the other one. Do we want to follow the rules, guys, or do we want to break them? I got that one. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. That's a 17. I thought that was a... It's the paint is kind of chipped off. So, well, I failed. So, if I fail, go to section 68. Some days you dream of being a goblin with excellent climbing skills. This is one of those days. You trip over your robe, lose your footing, and plummet to the street below. Things could have gone worse. You land in soft straw and suffer a relatively minor injury. Subtract 2 life points from your total. So, let's see. My life points are 29. What does that mean? Okay, so 29 life points. Someone? Do you hear that?
What? That's the fan.
No, I hear someone like... I hear like Hazel huffing or something.
Oh, I don't hear that.
Oh. Yeah, I don't hear it when I'm up here. Interesting. I'm probably just hearing. Have a good night, Steven. I like it. He goaded me with risk it or you don't want it, and then just takes off when I fail. See how it is. So subtracting 2 life points, I am at 27, which is still, you know, that's actually not terrible. So, all right. So let's see. So I subtracted my 2 life points from my total. My total, it's not. So, I stand up, jump out of the cart, and comb bits of straw from my hair. Go to section 87. I lose a time unit, because it's going to take me some time to get back up to my spot. You climb out of the straw-covered cart, thankful you did not break any bones. You return through the school's main entrance, a heavy stone oak door that stands invitingly open during the day but shut with iron bars at night, and quickly cross the reception hall. You turn left at the courtyard, ascend the stairs, and find your way back to Archmage Aurelian's room, where you ponder your next action. So, if I can wait for someone to arrive, I think I'm just going to walk in. Or do I use the spell? Gosh dang it. So I've had 2 people say use the spell. I mean, what if it is part of the test and he wants to see if I'll do it? So I have a vote for go in. Jess and Amanda, do you still say use the spell? Because I'm down to use the spell. But if somebody else pops in and says to just walk in, then I'll have to flip a coin. Cover your mouth, sir. He did. Spell.
Flip that.
Okay, I got 2 for spell. I'm doing it. Got 2 for spell. I'm doing it. Alright, so let's go ahead and hit that button. Go to section 198. Penetrazel, you murmur repeatedly while pressing your brow against the wall of Archmage Aurelian's room. Roll to cast a spell. So courage, sagacity, and intuition again. So courage is my red one. And that is a 7, which I know succeeds because my courage is a 13. Intuition, or sagacity is purple. So that is a 9. That is a 6. And then intuition is green. That is a 12. My intuition was a 14, so we're still good. So I have to lose 6 more points on my arcane energy. But it was successful. I like those 3. Let me just roll the red, purple, and green one all night. I mean, I'll stop rolling any of those other ones. Oh, yay, David chimed in with spell 2. Yeah. Spell wins. Not going to break in. I think it's a 216. Your mind feels swallowed by the wall, as if pressed through a keyhole that suddenly appeared in the stone. Then your awareness explodes into the Archmage's room. You have never been here before, and it takes you a moment to orient yourself. Magister Aurelian's room is huge compared to your humble quarters. His opulent bed, covered with blue veils, sits in one side chamber, and you think you can see a cast-iron bathtub on another side chamber. What luxury! And this is not all. The room is dominated by an eye-catching piece of furniture, Archmage Aurelian's huge, impressively carved desk, which sits between two 9-foot shelves stuffed with books and rolls of parchment. Only a true artist could have given form to the creatures carved into the desk's surface. You see a dragon, a cyclops, and a demonic shrew, a fantastic winged serpent, and many others. Now remember, this is not allowed. I did just remember that as I'm reading this. Casting the spell in the school is not cool. With a start, you realize the carved figures are moving. Two armed dwarves wage an eternal struggle against a type of dragon called a wyvern. They advance and retreat several inches across the surface as they fight. Nearby, the winged serpent dodges several blasts of magic fire hurled by a mage. Then it lunges forward, fangs poised to strike, but the mage dodges nimbly and fires another blast of flame at the nimble serpent. Oh, is that the ice cream truck? God, yeah, I've been watching and listening to some creepy stuff, and I'm a little on it. I'm hearing music, and I'm like, what's happening? Let's see. Their scary, lifelike, and fascinating battle continues, and you must expend some effort to look away. Hanging on a wall, you see 3 long magic staves, one pitch black and shattered in the middle. Next to them, you see 2 crossed, slender ceremonial swords, their pommels shaped like roaring lion heads, and their crossguards shaped like lion paws. Most exciting of all is the polished ball that looks as if it were made of glass, filled with slow-moving gray fog. The ball rests on a 6-fingered hand and a scaly forearm that rises out of a dark gray column anchored to the stone floor. So I'm having some serious flashbacks to Harry in Dumbledore's office with the pensive. So, like, if my teacher is in this crystal ball or doing something else or in that picture fighting off this wyvern when he's supposed to be giving me a test, I'm going to be kind of torqued. The only thing you do not see is Magister Aurelian. You also do not see either of your 2 proctors, that inscrutable half-elf Magister Mela Moonhair and Magister Brutum, whom most students secretly refer to as Mela's shadow. Disappointed, you start to climb back when you notice something else. One of the carpets is askew. One corner is rolled up and another is pushed up against one of the chairs. Magister Aurelian's desk is messy, which seems out of place for a room that is otherwise so orderly. Then you spy other things that you did not notice before. A crushed piece of chocolate candy on the floor, an overturned vase, and a small puddle that nobody bothered to wipe up. A row of books leaning at an unusual angle on a shelf, revealing 4 deep, almost parallel scratches in the wood. Something is wrong. You are certain. These are signs of a struggle. Yes, exactly. These are signs of a struggle, and someone tried to hide the evidence. Who could have fought here? Nobody can enter Archmage Aurelian's room without permission, so the mage must have admitted his attacker or attackers into the room. A thrill of danger runs down your spine. You feel like an agent of the impartial Garinthian Information Agency on a secret mission investigating a crime. What happened to Magister Aurelian? You see no traces of blood. He may have been abducted, but who would be so bold and why? You need answers, but where to find them? Your exam is likely to be cancelled, which means you will not graduate today. Magister Moonhair would jump for joy if she knew. Wait! Magister Moonhair! Your exam! It all fits! You have a suspect and a motive. I am an arrogant SOB. Anger wells up inside you and you almost lose your footing. You quickly climb back through the stained glass window. Wait, I didn't climb through the stained glass window. Yeah, you quickly climb back through the stained glass window and return to the safety of the corridor, already planning your next move. You must find Magister Aurelian and gather evidence against Magister Moonhair. Subtract 6 from your total and go to section 167. So that's one thing. I think we experienced this in the last one where some of the entries are a little confusing, so we're just going to say that it's really weird because it knows... Oh, well, yeah. It knows that... I don't know. Yeah, it kind of gives you 2 things there. So I already did that. I already subtracted my 6. So, and go to section 167. This is crazy. Instead of taking your exam and looking forward to graduation, here you are, searching the halls of the school for clues to Magister Aurelian's whereabouts. I also want to say all of those things that he mentioned seeing, sound... Remember I told you about Magister Aurelian and the art that's in the book? What did he have all over him? Cats. Those of you that have cats or have seen an internet or have been on the internet in the last 25 years, you know that cats do all kinds of stuff like that. So I have a feeling his cats just went crazy, or somebody just made one of his cats get really big and like eat him or something. Let's see. You fervently hope that this decision will not come back to haunt you, but you are determined to succeed, so you pause to consider your options. The wisest course of action would be to inform the teachers and let them handle it. Many of the school students and instructors went into town today to celebrate the end of the school year, but some always remain behind. Venerable Magister Horrigan is probably in his office. Most students would approach him first as he is competent, friendly, and trusting. Magistra Emmenfeld probably stayed behind as well, but she is mistrustful and a stickler for the rules. You wonder whether she would help or make the situation worse. I am yawning tonight like crazy, y'all. Seeking Magister Tianen's advice is more difficult but less risky. He is a brilliant theoretician. I think I said it right the first time, right? Theoretician. Though he is even more unworldly than the elves, and his mind often seems to be someplace else. An unsympathetic person might call him insane. You never searched Magister Aurelian's room, so a return trip might be in order, and of course you might benefit if you search Magister Moonhair's and Magister Brutum's rooms. Excuse me, I'm still yawning. Maybe I just need to let it out. Maybe you could learn something about the Archmage's recent activities by asking the school's clerical and housekeeping staff. You could also try the teacher's lounge, the dining hall, or the courtyard. You doubt you would find any instructors in the attic there, or the cellar today, but if you did, they might have the information you seek. How will you know unless you try? Speaking of chances, you suddenly remember a potential witness who always turns up at the most inconvenient of times. Nivea, the school's resident house cat. More cats. More cats. This is feeling an awful lot like a knockoff Hogwarts, by the way. But good, we need more of those. Let's see. Where's the house cat? Her animal instincts and razor-sharp senses let her perceive things that humans cannot. According to rumor, she is a former student who became trapped in an animal shape years ago. If this is true, she must be able to communicate with you. Of course, you can also retreat to your room for rest and consider your options. More yawns. At least for a while. Sometimes the answer finds the seeker. Go to section 100 and make your decision. So, I have many choices. What is that telling me? Cross off the circle in front of your choice before going to that section. You cannot revisit a choice unless it has another unmarked circle in front of it. Okay, good to know. So, I'm going to put on here a little section 100. Choices. So I can return to Magister Aurelian's room. I can visit Magister Moonhair. I can visit Magister Brutum. I can seek advice from Alchemicus Horrigan. I can seek advice from Magister Emmenfeld or from Magister Tianen. Those last two I can talk to more than once. And then I can do a search for Nivea, the cat, visit the teacher's lounge, search the dining hall, search the cellar, search the courtyard, search the attic, or return to my room. So I think this is where I'm going to go ahead and pull out the maps. So let's see here. Let's see if this works. Go get an adult. Well, I have options of adults. Which adult should I get? Should I go to the woman who is kind of hates me? Should I do that? Search whose room? Go back to Aurelian's room? Is that what you're saying? I couldn't get in there, remember? So you told me to go in. I mean, maybe I can bust in now, but before I tried to go in and the lock, it wouldn't turn. So, seek advice from the first one. So, we talking Magister Moonhair, the one who doesn't like me, or the trustworthy guy? I think it's Magister Brutum. The trusting one. Okay, I'm pretty sure that was Brutum. Is that person naked? There's a lot of naked people, or kind of mostly naked. Was it Horgan? I can't remember who it was. It was either Brutum or Horgan. One of them was also insane. I think that was Tianan. Tianan. And Immenfeld was distrustful. What? I wish this had the reference numbers of where I could go. Do you remember? Yeah, I know you don't know.
That's why I started when I was doing it.
You were writing it in there, yeah. Yeah, the Call of Cthulhu ones. Call of Cthulhu. The Call of Cthulhu ones do allow me to click back. I can retrace my steps. So I'm going to do a real quick retrace here because I remember one of the numbers. We go there. So 167. So the trustworthy one. Yeah, it's Horgan. Probably in his office, most students would approach him first. He is competent, friendly, and trusting. Who was Brutum? I don't even see him listed on here. So Horgan is trustful. Immenfeld is mistrustful. Master Tianan is insane. Oh, Magister Brutum was the other proctor. That's who that was. Okay, so yeah, we will go to Horgan. And so let me check that off. So Magister Horgan we do once. Will it let me do a little? I can only go to him once, so his box is checked. Seek advice from Alchemicus Horgan. 148 is the number that we're doing. So I do spend a time unit going to his office. As one of the friendliest and most respected mages in the academic community, Alchemicus Magister Horgan is always willing to talk outside of class with his students. Even when not teaching... Oh, I was going to spring this over here. Did it say where? I'm going to go ahead and do this. And, so yeah, so now you can see that's the cellar. I don't know if it's going to come up for a little bit, but anyway, I don't know where Magister Horgan's office is, unless it tells me on here. Servants' quarters, reception hall, library, practice and ritual chambers, elevs and novices dormitory, infirmary and studiosi dormitory, classrooms and offices. So K is on the 3rd floor. So let's go ahead and check that out, and then you guys get to see. So the offices are in this area here, which you can't see my mouse cursor. There's no text on this screen. I forgot to do that part. Oh well. You guys know who I am. My name is Ruveworks. John, type in !cast in the chat. Okay. Maybe I'll take a break in a second. And I don't know how late you guys want to stay on. Usually we stop about 9, which is in about 40 minutes. I'm good to stay on a little longer, but we can decide that as time approaches. So as one of the friendliest and most respected mages in the community... No, exclamation point. Like, actually put an exclamation point. Don't be a jerk. You did that on purpose. He's making a very poop-eating grin over here. As one of the friendliest and most respected mages in the academic community, Alchemicus Magister Horgan is always willing to talk outside of class with his students. Sorry, my overthinking brain is going, you know, the things I put in chat for you when you don't even ask for them. Okay. And you're being a little turd over there. Even when not teaching, he prefers to spend his time in the cellar, in the school's laboratories. Classes are over for the term, so both labs are empty when you arrive, but here reminds you of all the times you stood at one of those stone-covered tables. So he's in the cellar? Okay. I had the right picture up anyway. Being here reminds you of all the times you stood at one of these stone-covered tables performing experiments under the watchful eye of Magister Horgan. The Magister insists that students obey safety precautions, but he also knows that some students learn best by doing. Gosh, this character thinks about a lot of stuff. He's worse than I am. he or she, Stratia, is worse than I am. Um, the Magister insists that students obey safety precautions, but he also knows that some students learn best by doing, not simply by listening. This divergent philosophy manifests in the appearance of the two school laboratories. On one hand, the teaching laboratory is clean and orderly, and numerous blackboards display important safety rules such as always stand while working, always wash your hands upon entering and before leaving the room, and so on. After each lesson, 2 assistants would gather up unused alchemicae, sweep the floor, and thoroughly scrub the tables. By contrast, the research laboratory, which is smaller and separated from the teaching lab by a heavy door, is far less organized. The research lab's door stands open, and you can see a jumble of glass equipment piled on the tables. A small candle still burns, heating a flask containing a viscous liquid. Obviously, somebody is ignoring the safety rules. No wonder students half-jokingly refer to the research lab as the realm of chaos. You recognize one of the glass assemblies from an experiment Alchemicus Horrigan assigns to all his first-year students. When you were a new student, your first lab lesson began with Magister Horrigan warning about the great danger inherent in the experiment. Make one mistake, he said, and the whole device might blow up. Bang! For this reason, he explained, students had to remain at a safe distance. Next, he revealed a glass assembly holding 2 boiling liquids, one green, the other blue. The green liquid rose through a glass tube and dripped into the flask of blue liquid, which sat above a larger flame. Steam rose from the blue-green compound, winding its way through more glass tubes until it condensed into a clear distillate that the Magister collected in a bowl. At regular intervals, Magister Horrigan poured this distillate back into the flask of blue liquid. Surprisingly, the blue liquid never changed color. Everything the students knew about liquid concentration and the combination of alchemical substances indicated the mixture should have become several shades lighter when thinned. Instead, it unfailingly retained its deep blue, rich hue. For more than a week you struggled, and failed, to explain the underlying reason for this result. You failed even to identify the 2 boiling liquids. Now that you think about it, your lab report deserved the disappointing grade of inadequate. Every student in the class received 1 more week to revise their lab reports, and even though your second effort received a minimal passing grade, you remember the Magister shaking his head in disappointment as he returned your paper. Upon the conclusion of this lesson, Magister Horrigan ordered every student to remain silent about the experiment so as not to spoil the surprise for future classes. "What are you doing here?" a friendly voice says, interrupting your reverie. "Good morning, Magister Horrigan," you say reflexively as the Magister's round, smiling face and famously unruly white beard appears at the door to the research laboratory. "Shouldn't you be attending your final exam?" he asks. What do you say in response? So I can say, "My exam was postponed, but I do have a question," asking about the location of Magister Aurelian, or I can say nobody showed up, or something terrible happened, or this may sound crazy, but I think Magister Moon here abducted Magister Aurelian. I kind of don't want to do that one, or something terrible happened, because I would have to admit, if I think someone abducted him, I would have to admit that I cast a spell that saw through the wall. So I can, or I can admit that and do the right thing and be upfront about it. So do I play dumb and just be like, nobody showed up? Or, hey, do you know where the Magister is? Or, I did a thing, I saw a thing, and now I'm worried. Or, I did a thing, I saw a thing, and somebody's got it out for me and hurt the professor. What do we think? What do we think, friends? No one showed. Did he mention anything about it? That's one. We got 1 vote for that. I'm going to see if I can't get this text on here while I wait for answers. No one showed? Okay, that's 2 for that. I'll wait to see if I get a 3rd one. If not, we'll go ahead and do the no one showed. Copy. Can I paste? I can't, because I'm amazing. No, the software's amazing. There we go. No one showed. All right, we're going to go with no one showed. So what I say in response is, nobody showed up to administer my exam. Did Magister Aurelian mention anything about it? So I go to 186. Worry momentarily flickers across Magister Horrigan's face, and he asks you to have a seat in the research laboratory. Unlike the teaching laboratory, which is a model of the Magister's vision of order and safety, at least that which he teaches his students, this lab is quite messy. Stacks of heavy tomes lean precariously, threatening to topple over and crush unwary passers-by. Large cobwebs darken every corner. Shelves groan under the weight of too many glass instruments. Open containers of volatile alchemicae litter the room, and foul-smelling liquids drip from untended spills on the tables. That is unlike him, the alchemicus mumbles, taking a seat himself. What could have happened? He wonders aloud, scratching his beard. So now I have another opportunity to speak. I don't know, I was hoping you could help. He was abducted! Or, I know who abducted him. I'm kind of leaning toward the first one. Yeah, I don't know, I was hoping you could help. I was hoping you could helo too. Let's see. I don't know. I was hoping you could help. Go to section 46. Magister Horgan stares blankly over your shoulder in the direction of the teaching laboratory. I can't tell you, he quietly mumbles, lost in his thought for a moment. Then his face lights up with childlike glee. The way you've seen it do when a student reaches a correct conclusion, or when a complex experiment produces better than expected results. This is one reason why students love the old alchemist. Before you know it, he leaps off his seat, grabs you by the arm, and practically drags you to the teaching laboratory. Go to section 74. Oh, he looks like, in this art that I have for him here, he looks like Goblet of Fire Michael Gambon. If you want. And he's wearing the same kind of like hat. 74. You stumble as you hurry to keep up with the mage until he stops in front of the device of failure, the experiment with the blue and green liquids that seem to defy every rule of alchemy, the source of the worst grade of your career as a student of the Academy of Transformation. Do you remember your failure? The mage asks in a close to friendly tone. Of course, how should I ever forget this homework? You say, bitterness tinging your voice. Ah, well, I see, but what matters most is whether you understand the experiment now. You nod, but the mage isn't satisfied with a nonverbal reply. Explain, he says. You sigh. This failure brings back many unpleasant memories, but you must answer his question. Things were not as they seemed, you begin. Nobody could explain the results because you rigged the experiment. Yes, I did, Magister Horgan says, laughing happily. Still bitter about the episode, you continue, saying, there never were any blue or green liquids. You used only clear liquid. The beakers and tubing were made of colored glass, but you ordered us to stand on the other side of the room due to the alleged danger, so we couldn't see clearly. The mage's happy expression only fuels your irritation. You wrote a lab report, as I recall, he asks. Yes, we all spent a week writing our papers, and how long did it take you to write inadequate on all of them, Magister? Half an hour? True, all true, the mage says smugly, and you wonder how he ever became the most popular teacher in the school. But you revised your report, he continues, reassuming a serious tone. Only because you forced us to rewrite them, you say, still bitter. Uh-oh. I did a thing and it went away. Gosh dang it. The lab experiment is my pride and joy, he laughs. Every student fails the first time around, and each must write a second paper. You correctly deduced that the experiment was fake. Well, the alchemical part at any rate. But here's the thing. That exercise was part of a larger experiment. A larger experiment? You think failure is an experiment? No, it is not about failure, but about character. The alchemicus wheezes as if shouldering a heavy burden. You suddenly feel like a new student, small and frightened, seeing the school for the first time. The alchemicus notices this change in your demeanor and softens his tone. He straightens his back, standing up to his full height, and says, the second essay required no special knowledge of alchemy, physical laws, or the substances in the glass tubing. You think you wrote about your failure to deduce the workings of the experiment, but you mostly wrote about yourself. As I recall, you said something like... Here the mage changes his voice to imitate yours as he recites from memory. The experiment is a deception meant to convince the naive that we can flaunt the rules of alchemy simply by mixing the right substances. Trapped between fascination for the subject and mistakenly believing that they witnessed a rare phenomenon, victims of this deception soon think that any result is possible if one simply knows the right formula. This sublime feeling of elation eventually succumbs to a disappointing but inevitable conclusion, namely that some things are quite impossible. You try to speak, fighting the lump forming in your throat. A moment later you manage to say, You remember what I wrote? The Magister nods eagerly, saying, I have taught 153 students. I would not recognize some of them today, and I do not know what became of them all, but I remember their names, and I remember the words they wrote for that assignment. But why did you look so disappointed when you returned my paper? You stammer, surprised to discover your old wounds never healed. There are many ways to express oneself, even in a lab report. I read 153 highly personal essays. Some filled me with joy, some confirmed my suspicions positive or negative, and some saddened me terribly. I disappointed you, you whisper, your voice barely audible. Then realization strikes you like lightning. How could you have been mistaken all these years? You stare into the green beaker, seeking courage. I was wrong, Magister Horgan, you confess. It may not be possible to break the rules of alchemy, but it is possible to fool 153 people with nothing more than cheap-colored glass. Yes, the experiment was rigged, but that does not excuse my behavior all these years. I should have known better. I also should have learned a second lesson. I should have learned. So now I have some choices. What else should I have learned? The Magister is waiting expectantly for me to continue. So I can say, I should have learned that things are not always what they seem, that nobody is immune to manipulation, or that anything is possible, especially if you're willing to bend the rules a little. So we already know that he said things are not always as they seem. Nobody is immune to manipulation, or anything is possible if you're willing to bend the rules. There's a lot of exposition, though. There is a lot of storytelling here. Like, somebody wanted to write a novel. And I kind of wish they had, because it's kind of interesting. I'm enjoying this. But I'm commenting on that John chatted that this part feels much better written. Anything is possible, especially if you're willing to bend the rules a little. Okay, so I've got 2 votes for the third option. If I zoom in too far, the whole sheet just checks out. I'm going to sip on my drink for 5 more seconds. The first choice was things are not always as they seem, which he already mentioned, I believe, before. The Magister, I mean. Alright, I have three votes for the third option. So, I should have learned that anything is possible, especially if you're willing to bend the rules a little. So we're going to go to section 135 now. Magister Horgan stands up beaming with pride, his eyes filling with tears of joy. Excellent, excellent, he says, laughing. Your mind is racing. Before today, nobody would believe Magister Aurelian would ever miss an exam. There must be a reason, and you decide to find it, though part of you worries a mere student is ill-equipped to face someone with the power to abduct an archmage. Thank you, Magister Horgan. You have been most helpful, you say, rising from your seat. As you turn to leave, the Magister hands you a small phial containing a healing potion. When imbibed, it heals 1d6 plus 2 life points up to your maximum of 29. So I now have a healing potion. Which now, it sounds like breaking the rules might have been an okay thing, according to this guy. The healing potion will heal 1d6 plus 2. Up to my max. Alright. Record the file in your inventory and go to section 100. Oh wait, you thank him for the valuable gift as you exit. Who would have thought the worst homework assignment of your life would turn out so well? So, I've recorded the file in my inventory, and now I'm going back to section 100. So section 100 is where all my choices were. So, now who do we want to talk to? Do we want to try to find the other proctor? Talk to the distrustful teacher or search for the cat. You okay? You okay there, David? um, Visit the teacher's lounge, search the dining hall, search the cellar, search the courtyard, search the attic, or return to my room. I'm already quite aware this is probably going to take at least one more week. So we'll probably, I had told someone earlier that we were going to go back to Alone Against the Dark next week. We'll probably push that out another week. I mean, I hope you guys don't mind me sitting here and not John, because I got the campaigns. Cat or room, cat or room. So I got to search the room. Technically 2 for search the room. I mean, I guess I could just like... I guess I could just like... I don't know. It does say Section 100 is a good place to pause the adventure when you wish to take a break. Oh, also if you forget why you have some of these choices, reread the text in Section 167. I'm going to write that down too, because that's what I had to go and retrace to find out which name was which. Sorry, I'm looking for something. Okay, it doesn't say that these cause time pass. I think it'll cause passage of time when I go to the thing. Search the room, search the room. Well, thank you, John. Thank you for your assessment. I've been working on my smile. Anyway, so we're going to go search the room. Or we're going to go at least go to this room. So back to Magister Aurelian's room. Section 164. Let's see if we can get in this time. Well, this was kind of a... You return to Magister Aurelian's room and knock, but nobody answers. If you try another option, go to Section 100. If you wait for the Magister return, go to Section 55. So I can't search the room. I may have given the wrong impression of that option. So I can go back to it and just beat on the door. Or I can sit here and wait. Do we want to wait? Or do we want to look for somebody else? I'm kind of thinking about looking for the cat. I don't know if I'm ready to talk to, you think things are lost in translation? Why?
I think it's there are things that are lost in the translation from German, like some of the stuff just may not line up. There are several times where that I found in the other Dark Eye adventure where I felt like the options were like.
I think they're just giving the
Why
opportunity.
did you think you could do this?
I don't necessarily get that impression from it. I think it's just like, well, do you want to go back and see if maybe he showed up?
Yeah.
Because if they didn't include that, somebody would be like, why can't I go back? Why can't I go back and do the other option?
Yeah.
Do we want to wait? I mean, worst thing it's going to tell me to do is nobody shows up, so go back to 100. It's going to take off a time mark, but I've only used 3 so far. So I'm cool with waiting. I'm just going to wait. Section 55. That's the only one that I didn't do before. Let's... Cats are always good. Well... $55. So I do spend a time unit, which I'm fine with. And you wait for a while, but except for one board maid, you see no one. If I continue to wait, I can go to Section 102, but if I stop waiting, I can go back to Section 100. Still wait? If I wait one more unit, I will have used a quarter of my time. Cats? Cats or wait? Or talk to one of the other adults. I mean, I could go try to find Magistra Moonhair. I don't know what this character would do. I'm hoping that I have the opportunity to at least decide whether or not we're going to be smart about it or be a little butthead. But and I'm good at being a butthead, but I'd rather, be smart about this. Cats? Okay. I think we're going to go with cats. We're going to go see if we can't find Nivea. So, back to 100. And we're going to search for Nivea. 151. I do spend a time unit. So at least this time unit takes me somewhere. Now that you need to find Nivea the cat, she is nowhere to be seen. Eventually you spot her on the 3rd floor, curled up on top of a bale of cloth next to the tailor's door. As you approach, she rotates an ear in your direction and then slowly raises her head, as if trying to decide whether you deserve an audience. For a few seconds, her green eyes stare at you with an intelligence that reminds you of the rumors of her true nature, but then she stretches and rolls onto her back, batting at the air with one paw. If only Nivea could talk! You are certain that she could lead you to Archmage Aurelian. Students and magisters alike have tried to reverse Nivea's supposed transformation countless times through the years. Their failures are a sad yet colorful chapter in the school's history. But all hope is not lost. Sometimes Nivea reacts to simple sentences and seems to understand every word, as if she really is a human trapped in animal form. You cannot change her into something capable of speech like a parrot, but you can try changing yourself into a cat. If you try simply speaking to the cat, go to section 62. Casting a Salander or Wolfpaw spell to transform yourself into a cat requires at least 16 arcane energy or 12 arcane energy respectively. I have that, but that's a lot of what I have. I'm currently at 26. So we'd be looking at a half or more of my energy, which I don't think is smart. Also, while transformed, your experiences are dreamlike and difficult to recall after the spell expires, but if you try this more during plan, I can move on. If I choose not to disturb the cat, I can erase the mark placed on the time tracker and go back. At least you now know where to find her if the need arises. So I can go back, change to a cat. I think I'm just gonna talk. I don't know if I want to spend all my energy. Wow, she looks more like Crookshanks. I'm using a lot of Harry Potter references because I don't know any other, all Rowling junk aside. Everybody wants to be a cat because a cat's the only cat who knows where it's at. One of the few Disney songs that I know is that one. But yeah, I'm using a lot of Harry Potter references because that's the magical world and school that I'm most familiar with. This cat looks like a cross between Crookshanks and Mrs. Norris. Kind of the ragamuffin-y thick fur and floofy and like tufts of hair coming off the ears, but orange and white-breasted and orange and black-striped. So, if you become a cat, you might become indifferent to your quest. Might be a good point. Nah, forget it. I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna stay like this. So we're gonna just simply try to talk to the cat, because I mean, certainly I could go, Nivea, if you don't mind, could you meow once or blink one eye if for yes, and blink both eyes or paw the ground twice for no. Twitch your whiskers, please. Go to section 62. Hello? Take me to section 62. It will not. That link doesn't work. I found it. I found the link that doesn't work. Hire me. I'm available. Let's see. Come on. Load. PDF. Oh, naked butt. Nivea watches you suspiciously as you sit down near her. Make a check on animal lore, which is courage, and charisma. If you have some slices of sausage to sweeten the offer, make the check as is. If not, apply a -4 penalty. And if you fancy yourself a cat whisperer, go to section 195. If you're more of a dog person, go to section 7. I don't have any sausage. I'm playing a girl. No. Nivea, would you like some sausage? Sausages. See, in my house, I live with two men. I live with John, my husband, and Sam, our roommate and friend. And whenever anybody says sausage, John sings the Tom Green song, Daddy, would you like some sausage? And Sam does the MST3K quote from Painted Hills,
Mhm.
the Lassie movie, where they go, sausages. And so every time, every time, every time. So now I just do them both reflexively to stave off the everything. So now you all know that. Cat Whisperer, my Cat Whisperer. So I would have to make the check at. It's interesting that it says here, make a check on animal lore. If you have some slices of sausage, make it as is. If not, apply a -4 penalty. So it says that, period. If you fancy yourself a Cat Whisperer, go to 195. It doesn't tell me if I succeed or not, so do I make the check now? Or do I make the check when I go to 195?
I'd say just go to the cat range, Cat Whisperer.
Okay, well, I'm going to jot this down at 62 in case we need to come back and make that check. Although I think I can remember that it was Courage, Courage, and Charisma. But let's check. Nivea lets you rub her belly. Then she rolls around and looks at you expectantly. Again, you feel like you are looking into human eyes. You have Nivea's attention. If you ask... See, I think I was supposed to roll. You're going to let them out? I think I was probably supposed to roll. A -4 on those. So let's go ahead and do the roll. I mean, I'm already here. How honest are we going to be? Courage at a -4. I need to roll a 9 or below. Now, the red has been rolling good for me, but now that I've said that, I'm borked. No, I'm not. I rolled a 3 for 1, so it's Courage, Courage. I rolled 2 3s back to back on that red die. Okay, sorry if that was loud. Charisma. Charisma. Charisma is this black die. Haven't rolled it yet. Let's see what it does. Are you okay? I rolled an 11. I don't think that does it. Let me find out. Animal lore, I think is what it was. 4. Well, I think. It's, it says yes, C, 4. So I have 4? So I rolled an 11. My charisma is a 12. So at a -4, I would need it to be an 8. So I can spend 3 points. Cool. So I'm gonna do that, so we succeed. So good. We didn't have to lie. And it didn't cost me anything, except for those 4 points. But I can. Those aren't gone. I can do that every time, right?
Every time. It refreshes after every full skill.
Every full sculpture. Okay. So I can ask the cat some questions. I can ask, where can I find Magister Aurelian? I can ask, where is Magister Moonhair? Or where are they both? Where are Magister Moonhair and Magister Aurelian? So one, the other, or both. Anyone? Anyone care to? Because I mean, I'm. So just Aurelian? Or should I go ahead and ask for both and see if she gives me a double answer? The guy? Okay. That's 2 votes for Aurelian. We're going for it. That is section 49. Oh, man. 49. This does take me a moment. So, let's cross off another circle. Nivea's ear twitches as she listens to your question. Then she jumps down from her throne, the bale of cloth, and runs off through the hallways. You have trouble following her because she takes shortcuts beneath furniture. Sometimes she climbs a tall shelf and makes a daring leap across a room for no discernible reason at all. You follow her up a flight of stairs to the top floor, then along the corridor to Magister Aurelian's room. She said top floor? There, that's what it looks like. I don't see his room up there. Does it say top floor? Sorry, I'm just trying to, give you guys different things to look at. Yep, purring, Nivea rubs against the door frame, then rolls onto her back, seemingly expecting more affection. You feel anger well up inside you, but then you remember that you did ask the cat to show you the way to Magister Aurelian, and she led you to this room. What more did you expect? You feel disappointed, but you stroke Nivea's belly anyway. Soon she jumps to her feet and disappears beneath the cupboard. So, back to the thing. I cannot go back to her. Nivea is done. So, I'm back to 100. The choices I have remaining are Moonhair, Brutum, both of those are my proctors. Immenfeld, which was the distrusting one. Tienan is the crazy one. I can go to the teacher's lounge, search the dining hall, the cellar, the courtyard, the attic, or go to my room. And we are coming up here on 9 o'clock. Maybe before you guys, this is a good place to stop if we want to stop here. If you guys are good for like another half hour, I'm good for another half hour. It is Tuesday, so I don't think we're competing with anybody. We don't have Critical Role or anything to take anybody away from. But if you're good for another half hour, I am. But I will also, as the book says, 100 is a solid place to stop and start again. So far, we've actually done fairly well. We're just struggling on, this is a lot of time spent looking for people in this large school, so. John is suggesting go to the cellar. You're okay with stopping? Let's see how long the cellar takes us. And then if somebody needs to leave, that's cool. We'll just do one more stop and search the cellar, and we'll go from there. And as soon as it takes us back to 100, we will stop at 100. Let me go and unmute John.
Alrighty.
So, search the cellar 173. Ooh, pretty. So it does take another moment of time. You cannot imagine an abductor hiding Archmage Aurelian in the cellar. Villains like to have multiple escape routes, and the cellar has only one way in or out, namely a lone staircase to the first floor. However, people act in all manner of irrational ways, so perhaps you should take at least a quick look around. You light a candle and follow the stairs to the cellar. The floor is silent, as most students and teachers went into town for the day. You expect to meet only the alchemicus Magister Horrigan puttering around in his laboratory classrooms. You head there first, but those rooms are vacant. You backtrack to the stairs and continue west along the corridor. The doors for both the small and large ritual rooms stand open. You can see these rooms and their connected storage rooms are vacant. Nearby, other storage rooms for food and other consumables are also vacant. You know these rooms well from your duties over the years. You spent many hours here taking inventory or fetching items from various crates, chests, files, sacks, and barrels. One door sends shivers down your spine. The room beyond contains a large pool for practicing the spell Breathe Water, a spell you have not yet learned. You try to suppress an image of Magister Aurelian floating face down in the water as you open the door and peer inside. To your relief, the room is vacant, and the same is true for the bathing room and the laundry with its connected storage room. You really seem to be alone down here. A bit disappointed, you sit down on a pile of shattered brick, debris left after workers excavated an old walled-off door last year. You look at the thick oak portal which students jokingly refer to as the Forbidden Door. The faculty hoped it concealed hidden knowledge, but a flood collapsed the corridor behind the door, ending plans to explore what lies beyond. Magister Aurelian placed a magic lock upon the door and proclaimed it off limits, but this only fueled students' curiosity and resulted in no end of mischief. Eventually, the door earned its ominous nickname. For unknown reasons, nobody ever tried to wall it off again. So, yeah, John said, only reason I thought cellar was the carpet disturbed in the teacher's room, like maybe a trap door. Interesting. That is a long trap, because he comes all the way from the top.
Never mind.
Well, you never know. We're already here. So, which, I mean, really, my further search, if we weren't going to go talk to somebody specifically, would probably be to work from bottom to top again. So, cellar is not a bad idea. You suddenly view the forbidden door as a symbol of your failure. For centuries, nobody bothered to explore what lies beyond. When people finally wanted to try, however, no amount of expectation or enthusiasm could prevent their failure, just like your search for Magister Aurelian. No, you do not accept that. You did not fail and you will not give up, but the cellar has nothing more to offer. So we'll go ahead and call it here, because this is taking us back to 100, and that is the only time we can go to the cellar. So we have stopped at section 100, and I have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 the 4 places that we've been. And we will start there next week, and hopefully we can find Magister Aurelian. I again appreciate y'all coming out and talking to us, and helping me with this adventure. We will be back on Thursday with it'll be John, myself, and Sam. We'll be can't think of the word I'm looking for. But we're going to be back as our characters in Star Trek to the Stars, GM'd by Matt Quiet. And we will be figuring out, I believe we were captured by the Obsidian Order. We were captured. We were going to, something. Something has gone on, and there are Cardassians in the Obsidian Order and the Orion Syndicate. And we are looking for somebody, and he's ticked off everybody. Some sort of scientist doing something. It's been a good long time. We are still in quarantine, so all of our content from here until whenever is going to continue to be via Zoom or in isolation. And so join us Thursday night, 7 p.m. for To the Stars, Episode 2. And that will be at... Are you okay? Oh, fireworks have started again. Our poor dogs. And then on Tuesday again, we'll be back with more of this. Again, this was Conspiracy of Mages from the Dark Eye RPG in Ulysses Spiel, North America. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you another day. Thank you. Bye-bye.